One of those things, just one of those crazy flings, one of those bells that now and then rings, just one of those things. It was
1 week ago, on Saturday, April 28th, the Nevis Performing Arts Center opened in a blaze of glory. There was a cultural extravaganza. One of the voices we heard was that of Denise Gordon, an English songstress of Nevisian parentage. Today she's here at the Sea Breeze restaurant at the award-winning Nisbet's Plantation, and we will find out more about the lady behind the voice.
You ready to sing Nevis? Won't you help me sing another song of freedom? Was all I ever had. Redemption song. Your time, redemption song.
Denise, it's a real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Steve.
Of course, after meeting you on stage last Saturday at the opening of NEPAC. Now, let's put this in perspective. Tell us a bit about your Nevis connection.
Okay. Well, I consider myself a Nevisian born in England, born to Nevis parents from Gingerland, and I've been coming to Nevis since, well, as long as I can remember, since the 70s. So I came as a small child. My mum brought me to Nevis and fell in love with Nevis.
Whereabout in Gingerland?
My mum was actually from Rollins, yeah, and my father's from Hanley's Road.
And you were telling me that when you came from England on vacations, you actually got into the school system? You attended school here?
When I was younger, my mum would bring me out for 6 weeks for vacation and come and look after her mother in Morning Star, and so she would send me to school so that I had an experience of school life early on, very early on, and it just made me feel as though I was part of Nevis. I never felt like a stranger, because from the age of 7 I remember going back to England and thinking, wow.
Lovely place.
Wow, yeah,
Nevis
amazing.
Nice.
Nevis nice, yeah.
So last Saturday we were, as an island, all at the opening of NEPAC.
Yes, very exciting.
Very exciting. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I was asked by Livy Liebird when he knew I was back on the island. I had a phone call saying that I'd been spotted, and he knows how much I was excited to hear about the opening of the theatre when I was here in January. Apparently it was due to be opened in July, and they brought it forward, and I just happened to be here. So for me it was just a beautiful opportunity to perform for the people of Nevis. And where better than in the state-of-the-art new opening of the Performing Arts Theatre.
And you performed in a major way. You did that Negro spiritual, what was the name again?
I did How I Got Over.
How I Got Over by Clara Ward.
Yeah. People here know it by Clara Ward, but I know it, of course, by Mahalia Jackson. Yeah.
She did that just before the March on Washington.
That's right. That was a very historic, very important song.
1963,
yeah,
August.
for Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, yeah.
What did it mean for you to perform those songs before a Nevisian audience? And of course you did Redemption Song as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was here in 2005 where I recorded a CD and I came out to promote it then. And a lot of people just remembered that I was singing Redemption Song, so it was actually a request that I come and perform that particular song. And then the band, we wanted to choose something that would more reflect us as musicians, and we're all church musicians. So the obvious selection was a church medley, which was I'll Fly Away, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, and By and By.
It was great stuff. You were trying to get the crowd going.
Of course, yeah.
Nevisians tend to be a little bit laid back and they didn't quite get into it. Were you disappointed with that?
I was a little bit surprised, I have to say. But I think Nevisians are very dignified people and a little bit reserved. So, but they can express themselves. You know, I was feeling that they did want to get into it, but it was an official occasion. So there was a little bit of reserve.
And everybody up front were dignitaries, the Prime Minister,
absolutely,
the ambassador from Taiwan, the Premier and his
absolutely,
ministers and so on.
And that's always a little bit different.
Is Whitney somebody, not Whitney, is Mahalia somebody you really like? I got the sense, and I had remembrances of Mahalia just listening to you.
Oh, that's a big compliment. Yeah, the first song that my mum ever taught me at the age of 3 was He's Got the Whole World in His Hands by Mahalia Jackson. So Mahalia, I would say, shaped my career as a singer because I came through the gospel tradition, and one of the greatest singers in the world is Mahalia Jackson from New Orleans.
From New Orleans?
From New Orleans, yeah.
And when the Master of Ceremonies introduced you, he said that you're, of course, of international acclaim, and he mentioned that you have performed in New Orleans.
Yes.
Tell us about the New Orleans connection.
Well, I was raised in the Caribbean church in the UK, the Wesleyan Holiness Church, but we have very similar traditions to New Orleans, to the the southern states of America, and so a lot of our church songs, I'll Fly Away, those songs are in the New Orleans tradition. So it was inevitable that eventually I would go to New Orleans and study the music there. And so I've just come from New Orleans and sang on the French Quarter Festival 2012 with some great musicians, and completed a new album which I'm excited about, which was recorded in the historic part of the French Quarter of New Orleans, the home of Mahalia and Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong. And that meant a lot to you.
It meant enormous amount because my mum was a big fan of Mahalia, and I understand that in 1957 she actually saw Louis Armstrong at the Royal Albert Hall. Mm-hmm. So Nevisians have always been people of culture and appreciating the arts, and so to actually come back to Nevis in 2012, even without my mum here, I just feel that sense of pride that my mum had already set me on a path to appreciate the arts and to appreciate the music.
For those who didn't witness last Saturday, of course, and you said the first song that you were taught was a Mahalia Jackson song.
Yes.
Give us a bit of that.
Nothing like being put on.
But I know you can do it.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got this whole world right in his hands. He's got this whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
A real throwback to Mahalia. I love Mahalia as well.
Thank you.
Even getting congratulations from people on the deck chairs on the beach. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
Where did the voice come from?
That's a very good question, Steve. We don't know, in truth. I'm hoping there might be somebody watching, a Nevis historian, that may be able to tell me. My father loved music, Ben Liebert, and so he always sang from a very young age. When I was growing up, my dad always encouraged me to sing, listening to Jim Reeves, country and western music, listening to Mahalia, Brooke Benton, Sammy Davis. So music was a big influence in me, in my family from a very young age, and of course on the gospel side, going to church with my mum, being encouraged to sing every Sunday.
It seems like a lot of the great singers came out of a church tradition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think because in church we believe in what we're singing, and if you don't believe in it, you're not going to convince anybody else.
So church music imposes a sort of discipline on you think?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A real connection and a depth to what it is that you want to share. Else, there isn't a connection. You want somebody to feel something, to at least feel the true feeling that whatever it is the song is there to express. And so with gospel music, we grew up in church and we believed in these songs, so that connection and somebody else hears it, they know that you was in church and you really mean what you're singing.
So
there's no room for fakes.
So there's a natural talent honed in the church, but have you done professional voice training, for instance?
Yeah, I've had some operatic training and some classical training, but really because of the music that I love that's closest to me for jazz, there is no training other than listening to the greats. So I from the age of 18, I was listening to Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald. You know, I really listened to the old Billie Holiday. So I was very heavily influenced by the jazz greats as well as one of the gospel greats, Mahalia. And much later, soul influences like Gladys Knight and Shaka Khan. And so I think that's what's actually affected my career, because I've been able to sing all these types of music. Because of being a gospel trained musician, being a gospel background musician, you can sing.
What about of the modern singers? Of course, one of my favorites is the late great Whitney Houston.
Yeah, of course.
Some people refer to her as a voice.
Yes.
Do you like Whitney Houston?
Oh, I was enormously influenced by Whitney Houston. I think when she came out, I would have been around 16, 17, and everybody wanted to sound like Whitney Houston, and we knew that she came from the same tradition as so we could connect with her. We knew her mother being you know, one of the great choir leaders, and Dionne Warwick, so we could really relate to Whitney Houston. I think Whitney Houston was one of the first artists where I actually thought I would like a career. Seeing Whitney Houston on the TV was one of the turning points, because it felt attainable.
I've had the pleasure of meeting her twice, when she was 18 in the Virgin Islands, and then in 2003, I think it was, she brought her family to Nevis for 4 seasons.
Okay.
And I, in fact, babysat her daughter, who was then 9 years old.
Wow, yeah.
And it's quite a voice. What is your favorite Whitney song?
My favourite Whitney song? Oh my gosh, there's so many. Actually, I was singing Saving All My Love for You today, actually. I was just writing something and a little bit of that. Oh no! There's nothing like being put on the spot to sing a Whitney Houston song.
Please.
Oh no, I tell you what, if I was going to sing anything, it would be I Will Always Love You, because my mum always loved that.
Okay, here we go.
If I should say I would only be in your way, so I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of your way, and I will always love you, will always love you. A little bit.
You give me goosebumps here, man, because I really love Whitney, and I love that song as well. Now, I want you to be honest with me. You were on the set last Saturday with people like Alison Dorr, Shane Brown, the guy from Brown Hill who did Nevis Nice.
Yes, wonderful voice.
What do you think of the local performers?
I think Nevis has always been full of talent. We want to put Nevis on the global stage. We want to show off this tiny small island that keeps producing. Mel B's family are from Nevis. Myself coming from Nevis and having an international career, and so I wasn't surprised. I was just delighted, and it was for me a chance to sort of encourage them, to actually have a talk to them, and you know, hopefully that now they've got the theatre, they're going to have a forum to really show off their skills. We all need venues. As an artist, we need somewhere where we can share the gift, and so I wasn't surprised. I thought, this is Nevis, and I want to work with these singers. You know, I've worked with so many talented musicians from Nevis, Jazik, and a lot of the bands, Casanova and Friends, Garlic. So, you know, I know a lot of talent is in Nevis, a great deal of talent.
One of those